I am Charity Brown. I am a teacher and an overseas worker. I want to talk to you about loving those who are difficult to love. And I want to call this person or people the other. So before I really get going, I just need to go ahead and say this is a lesson that God is teaching me right now. This is not something that I am a pro at or something that I feel really even equipped to speak on. But it's just about sharing what God is teaching me about loving the other. So let's start by defining who the other is. The other is any person whom you find it difficult to love, mainly because of the ways that they are different from you. So this could be a neighbor with differing political views. It could be a family member who strongly disapproves of your life choices. It could be someone from another generation. You find it really difficult to understand. Or it could be someone from another race or ethnicity whose cultural background makes it where there are so many differences that lead maybe to misunderstandings on a regular basis or something like that. So it could be anybody. I want you to go ahead and think of somebody in particular. Allow the Father to put someone on your mind, on your heart, in order to really think about this lesson as you are hearing about it. So now that you have someone in mind, let's talk about why we should love the other. Now, this probably seems pretty obvious, and it is, but God's Word is living and active. So just remembering some of the scriptures that in which God speaks to loving the other. So he says to love your neighbor as yourself. He says love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you. He says love each other as I have loved you. So we love the other because God tells us to. We love the other because Jesus loved the other. He loved people of all ages, races, all backgrounds and walks of life. So now that we've talked about who the other is and why we are called to love the other, let's talk about how. This is the most difficult part, and I'm going to go ahead and say I don't believe that it's about finding what you have in common with them as far as common interests or something like that. And I don't think it's really about all of a sudden realizing that the thing that you didn't like about them is a good thing, something that you all of a sudden really like about them. I honestly don't think it's that easy. I listened to a sermon recently, not by a real Baptist pastor, and he was talking about community. He said a lot of good things about community, Christian community, how we should be there for one another, how we should support one another, carry one another's burdens, weep with those who weep, how we should keep one another accountable as brothers and sisters. So he said a lot of good things that I agreed with. However, he started his sermon by talking about finding this Christian community. And he was encouraging his church people to find their people, find the group of people that they like, that they want to spend time with, things in common that they can do together or enjoy together, whether it be a hobby or a stage of life or something like that. And that was what I just disagreed with. But I think a lot of us maybe believe that without thinking about it, that we think that community, to have community with brothers and sisters, you have to find other people like you, other people in your same stage of life or age group or culture or whatever. in order to find that Christian community. But I believe that's not what the Bible teaches us. I believe that what we see in the early church and in the Bible itself is that Christ himself unified these people from all different walks of life. It is not those similarities that unify us. It is Christ. So then how do we love the other? Christ. In him alone will we find that love for the other. Whether this person is a believer or not, Christ through his Spirit will teach us to love. So we should follow his example. Jesus sought out the other. He went into their homes. He ate with the other. He met the other at a well and pursued her. He listened to the other's cry for help and healed him. He met the other late at night, because that's what the other wanted, and answered his questions. So, to be honest, I'm not doing this well. I prefer to invite people into my home who are like me and who have similar interests to me. I prefer to share the good news with those who really want to hear it, not those who are going to brush it off or turn away from it. I prefer to travel around the world even to find the other, rather than finding them while getting groceries at Aldi or standing in line at the library to vote. But God is teaching me, little by little, that he loves the other. He loves every other just as much as he loves me. He wants to comfort them and provide for them just as he does for me every day. So, let's be his hands and feet and love the other.